I'm Spencer.
And I'm Zach, from Spencer and Zach Explore the Universe.
This week, the show will address whitewashing in pop culture. And I'm white, so I'm going to shut the f*** up.
And I'm not, so I won't. So, my Blanco bestie.
Is that me?
Yeah, you.
Aww.
Get ready. Buckle your seatbelt.
Check.
Tighten your helmet.
Check.
Adjust your seat.
Check.
Eat your vegetables.
Check.
Take your vitamins.
Check.
Stay hydrated.
Check.
Get comfortable.
I am.
Good, because here we go. Well, this may come as a surprise to you, and if so, I'm sorry to be the one to break the news, but America has a little bit of a racism problem. I just thought you should know. It turns out that a lot of America's racist tendencies have been shaped and perpetuated by the media we take in. White people have pretty much always run the movie and television industry, and that means they're the ones who get to call the shots on what we see and how it's presented to us. Ever heard of a thing called whitewashing? What we call the mainstream audience mostly just means the white audience. And it turns out that for many a decade, and still to this day, the mainstream audience has been much more comfortable with white faces on the screen, even when the characters being portrayed are supposed to be of different races and nationalities. This is where whitewashing comes in. The problem with whitewashing is that the minority characters being portrayed by white actors are relegated to how white America sees the minority group, which usually just translates to racist stereotypes. These stereotypical on-screen portrayals feed a false narrative to the viewing audience, which they then carry out with them into their everyday lives. Maybe you thought that white people were the only people interested in acting, so those roles needed to be filled with white actors? I can assure you, there are actors of all shapes, sizes, and colors out there looking for work. The work just becomes hard to find when the roles keep getting filled with white actors. This is even extended to our beloved cartoon characters. Another large problem with a mostly white-run industry producing material to be consumed by mostly white audiences is that when people of color do get work, they're often forced to conform to the very same stereotypes that white audiences expect to see from them. Black people are criminals and gangsters, South Asian people are cab drivers and convenience store clerks, East Asians are respectful but ignorant. These portrayals present ethnocentric views instead of realistic ones. They turn diverse populations into monoliths. The good news is that we're starting to see movies and documentaries made by men and women of color that address these issues. I've compiled a short list of informative and thought-provoking media to help you get started. Number 1, 13th, from 2016, directed by Ava DuVernay. 13th is an in-depth examination of the criminalization of African Americans in the United States, from the passing of the 13th Amendment, which freed the slaves, to the modern-day U.S. prison boom. Along the way, it shows how movies have been used to shape the narrative of the black criminal, from all the way back to the earliest days of the motion picture industry. Number 2, The Problem with Apu, from 2017, directed by Michael Malamadov. The Problem with Apu is a short documentary written by New York comedian Harry Kondabolu, who is an Indian American. For almost 30 years, the beloved Simpsons character Apu has been pretty much the only Indian representation on American television. Apu is a character voiced by a white man whose entire portrayal is built upon racist stereotypes. Turns out, Indian Americans don't like it, especially Harry Kondabolu. He hates it. For a good explanation on the toxic nature of whitewashed cartoon characters, check out The Problem with Apu. Number 3, Bruce Lee, 30 for 30, Be Water, from 2020, directed by Bao Nguyen. This ESPN documentary follows the life and career of martial arts legend Bruce Lee. Born in San Francisco and raised in Hong Kong, Bruce Lee returned to the United States at the age of 18 to attend college and open martial arts schools. Soon, Hollywood came calling, and Lee was cast as Kato on The Green Hornet. But he was also exposed to how cruel Hollywood is to Asian American actors. He soon returned to Hong Kong in order to find his international success. This eye-opening documentary made me hate that scene from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood even more than I already did. Number 4, Bamboozled, from 2000, directed by Spike Lee. This critically panned box office bomb explores the modern-day minstrelsy we see on display in movies and television today by putting it in the context of a literal modern-day minstrel show, where black performers wear blackface makeup. Bamboozled examines how easy it can be for black writers and performers in an industry run by white executives to perpetuate their own racial stereotypes, just so they can find work and achieve success. It also takes a look at how willingly audiences of all races are to blindly accept material that is painfully and obviously racist. In a the producers-like scenario, things go awry for Pierre Delacroix and friends when Mantan's new Millennium Minstrel Show becomes a wild success. 20 years ago, no one wanted to entertain the conversation Lee was trying to start with Bamboozled, but here we are today, having the conversation. This movie is worth a second look. Number 5, Dolomite Is My Name, from 2019, directed by Craig Brewer, who is white.
Like me.
That's right, my palest pal. In Dolomite Is My Name, aspiring comedian Rudy Ray Moore has created a character he calls Dolomite, who is taking the nightclub scene by storm. Rudy's comedy records are starting to make him famous in certain circles. When Rudy notices that there is no black representation on the silver screen, he thinks Dolomite is just the character to break the barrier. The only problem is that Rudy is middle-aged, kind of fat, black, and has no acting experience. Naturally, the response to his pitch is a hard no. Refusing to take no for an answer, Rudy sets out to produce his own movie with a ragtag team of friends and amateur filmmakers. Dolomite Is My Name takes a hilarious look at how the blaxploitation genre of the 70s began to take shape, when black filmmakers, tired of hearing the word no, began making their own movies on shoestring budgets, allowing themselves to be the stars and tell their own stories.
I've watched these movies, and I've learned a lot. Was I uncomfortable at times? Yes, I was. But that's kind of the point, because white. For more in-depth conversation on this topic, subscribe to Spencer and Zach Explore the Universe, available on all major podcast platforms.
And remember to like, share, and subscribe. Did we miss anything on our list? Leave a comment below. We just might read it this week. We will see you next time.
Bye!